Can you believe this?
You know he has the right to express his beliefs.
And I have the right to have dinner without some overzealous religious fanatic shoving his beliefs down my throat. Your chanting to your invisible sky god has turned my stomach.
You're only one of the biggest YouTube atheist celebrities in the country.
Well, a real atheist wouldn't brag. We simply teach by displaying our superior lifestyle and informing others of their terrible life choices.
Oh, Rick, are you okay?
Okay. Alright, can we just end this?
Are you sure you want to do that?
Who are you supposed to be?
Who do you think I am?
A hallucination brought on by a drunken head injury?
You cut deep, Rick.
What do you want?
I need your help, Rick. What we need to do is send you back to Earth, use your internet celebrity, and convert millions of followers!
You expect me to go back to my fans, tell them I had a near-death experience, hallucinated, and talk to Santachrist?
If you could be less of a condescending schlub about it, that would be preferred.
You won't believe this, Carlos, but I've had a vision. I totally believe in everything the Bible says. I want to take you to a stoning. Jesus wants me to get the word out to my followers.
I don't know. Your fans seem to be rather volatile about things they don't like.
I haven't seen Willie in years. We should really go talk to him.
My life's been tubular since I found Christ, bro.
I'm on a mission from Christ.
What mission's that, bro?
Asking people to convert hasn't been working. How can I force people to believe?
This right here is the biggest tool you need to survive. I call it my war room, bro.
Rick, your story has everything. My company wants to turn your life story into a movie.
Yeah, but people mostly watch me out of fear.
Religious movies are very in right now. We're thinking of calling the movie Do You Believe the Identical is Too Old-Fashioned to Prove God's Not Dead?
That sounds like a spoof title.
Who could possibly make fun of that?
Hey! Jesus, bro.
You need the one and only pure transformer. Go Jesus, bro. You're not lost, just gotta let him find you. Go Jesus, bro. You got a lot of heart and heart will guide you.
All right, hello and welcome to another drive-in double feature. I'm Ryan.
I'm Nathan.
And this is the podcast where we review 2 movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. And today we are doing Jesus Bro, which is directed by Ryan Mitchell and written by somebody that we know very well, Mr. Brad Jones.
Yeah, good old Brad Jones, who is the Cinema Snob over on YouTube channel Awesome and his own website where he reviews kind of the same fare that we do, right?
Yeah, I mean, like we said in the last episode, we reviewed one of his other movies on one of Media Boys Juniors, like one of the first episodes we did. And just to give you a brief rundown, like Nathan said, he's an internet reviewer. He made another movie, and this is our second feature that we're talking about of his. And I think we kind of decided that Paranoia was not very good, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I appreciate Paranoia a lot more after seeing Jesus Bro.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. When I left Paranoia, I had a sense of like, oh, okay, it's a low-budget movie. I can't rag on it too hard. And this one is also low budget. But something about this one, when it ended, I was like, oh, I can rag on this one pretty hard. This one's rough. It's not a great watch.
No. I think the main difference for me is that Paranoia really did feel like it was a bunch of friends coming together to make an honest attempt of making a feature-length movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, were they a little too ambitious? Sure. I mean, was it a great execution? No, but it was a very honest attempt.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it has some glimmers of goodness. I do. I think there were some parts that I liked, and it seemed like Brad Jones had a really great vision behind his writing when he was making this. I don't know about you, but I don't really find, I guess to go right into it, I didn't find that much to pull out of Jesus Bro.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, just to give you an idea, this is kind of like, because Brad does a lot of comedy in his reviews, and sometimes he does do little skits where he acts out like as like a little story to add to each review. And this one felt like that, but way, way, way too long. And I did not care by the end.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think what he's going for. So to put it in the context, Jesus Bro is the story of an atheist YouTuber, giant atheist YouTuber. People love him and hate him, but and he has a near-death experience, and he meets Santachrist, and we'll go into that a little bit later.
Oh,
and he becomes a Christian YouTuber and tries to change people. It's kind of like a parody of those Pure Flix, those Christian movies that are very popular for their demographic. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, because Brad was doing a lot of reviews at the time. I think like 5 years ago, a couple years maybe before he did this movie, but he did review like God's Not Dead and The War Room, like all those that are super preachy movies that are honestly kind of funny to watch sometimes just because the acting is really bad. But but I think that, and this was his attempt, like, oh, I can make one of those movies, but funny.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sorry, Brad, because I'm a fan. It sucks because I'm a fan of his. I mean, not like a crazy fan, but I usually like his reviews. I think he can be funny, but this is just like misses the point so hard.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I've learned about his style, because in preparation for this, I did watch a recent episode of the Cinema Snob, and it's decent. You know, I wouldn't say it was great or anything, but you know, it's a decent review. I feel like I got a good sense of the movie that he's reviewing, and it's a lot. His humor is very reactionary. Like when he watches a movie, he can usually do like really good like commentary track or critique it really funny, but making his own original jokes, I don't think is his strong suit.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It just comes off as, well, that's the thing. I don't know what it comes off as. You know, like he'll make so many different kinds of jokes, but also it's so unfunny a lot of the times.
Well, one thing I've kind of noticed with his jokes in particular is that, I mean, if you watch his videos, which I used to watch them pretty regularly before, but I don't really watch them now. I feel like a lot of these jokes have his own personal opinions in these jokes, which make it super unfunny to me, just because I know that's Brad Jones's opinion. Like, every character in this movie hates pickles, and the only reason that's the case is, the only one character that likes it is the devil, so it's like the one evil character, and the only reason that is because Brad hates pickles, and he said that multiple times.
Yeah, and isn't that's like, and that's not funny to be like, you know, you're watching the movie and being like, oh, okay, got it. That our writer doesn't like pickles. Okay, you can stop saying that every character hates pickles. There's also weird like jokes, like there's a scene where one character showing another character a computer screen, and was like flipping the computer and commentating, and cut in was videos of fans just talking, and they didn't correlate. What the man was saying is like, oh, that one was flipped on its side, and the video wasn't flipped on its side. I didn't get it at all. Like that, I'm glad you said that, because that scene was like, I didn't know what that was supposed to be, because, you know, like you said, it was obviously them like, so what I think is that they filmed that scene like long before they got those videos, because you could tell like the videos that were submitted, because they're all varying different degrees of quality, is that he got his other friends to like make videos and send them to him. So they're like, well, we can't wait for the videos, so we gotta wait. You gotta go ahead and react to it now. And because there's one where the guy's like, oh, like a guy just says, oh yeah, your videos suck now or whatever, and he's like, oh, that was disturbing. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, and I don't know if if they thought in the editing room like, oh, it's funny if it doesn't match it, but it just doesn't work. Well, because it doesn't work, because what I found really odd about this movie is it doesn't go full on parody. It tries to also be touching in a way. Like, I don't even think there was a joke. I mean, like, to kind of spoil, like, kind of some of the plot is, well, you don't have to watch this movie, so who cares?
Yeah,
but,
don't. I can tell you right now, we're going to say do not watch this, but go ahead.
His wife leaves him at some point, and the whole movie is about him trying to get his wife back. And it becomes almost a touching thing in the end that he works on himself to get his wife back. And a parody that it doesn't work. It feels weird whenever it's trying to make a joke every second. And then it has these weird moments of touchingness. And I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, because he does like try to make like a plot happen in the movie where there are like stakes and everything. But I just did not care in the slightest. Like, no. I don't care what his stakes were. And like, the guy, the main star, well, first of all, one of my biggest pet peeves about this movie is that I was hoping Brad Jones was going to be the star of the movie, and it's some other guy, and I don't really know him that well, and he's okay, I guess.
I didn't really like him, but I think it just might be the character. I don't know. Which,
his character, they call him the Rickhead, because that's his internet name. Yeah, but they find out his name is actually Rick Whitehead, and there's a joke in there too where they're like, "Oh, that's such a weird name, Rick White." I'm like, "What? Like, is that?"
It's not. I knew a dude in high school whose last name was Whitehead. I don't understand. I felt the same way. I was like, "That's not weird."
Yeah, I had a teacher named Mrs. Whitehead, so.
There you go. I don't know. I don't understand this guy's relationships, right? Because he is so anti-Christian in the beginning, very very atheist. It's honestly a parody of like someone like the Amazing Athiest, someone that lets it take over their lives. And
yeah, was the distressed watcher too busy to star in this movie?
Yeah, he should have. No, that's the thing is it's who it's trying to parody, but. It's like got a whole lot to it because it's almost like, oh, we don't want to take one stance of annoying atheists YouTube reviewers. We're also going to show the other extreme of annoying Christian YouTubers. And it doesn't really make any kind of meaningful stance, I don't think.
No. So almost, I mean, he's super hardcore atheist but yet like his best friend is super Christian. His girlfriend is also super Christian, and yet they tolerate this insane behavior. But yeah, they do go to very different degrees where it's like he's an atheist, so he thinks he's super intelligent and like super self-important. But then on the other coin, you also have like these Christians that are like super anti-gay, and they're like, oh, well, now that I'm a Christian, I'm no longer gay anymore. Like they've said that's a joke in the movie. So yeah.
That's a joke that Brad Jones gets to deliver. So
Brad gets all the best jokes.
He does, yeah. He gets the best lines. He honestly gets the best character. I would have preferred if the movie was about that character, because Rick Whitehead has a super Christian brother that's like hardcore Christian. That is like, he's like, joke, I'm not gay anymore because I'm Christian. It's silly. And I kind of wanted a little more silly out of my parody movie.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, there's not really. I mean, even the plot itself. I mean, it's just I can't even tell you exactly. Like, it's so like vague. I don't even remember. It's so unmemorable. Like, I do know he has like an epiphany, becomes super Christian, but yet like all of his viewers hate him, and then all of a sudden he's like getting God to smite all of his viewers that do not like him anymore.
It's so weird. Yeah, he's like, oh, if you don't like and subscribe to this video, God will smite you. And then God does smite people who like hate it. For some reason, this doesn't convince the world that God exists. So I don't know.
But then he meets God later, and they're just like, yeah, you should probably cut that out. I'm like, what? You're the one doing it. Like, what?
Right? And like, and a funny joke. God is a woman. Oh my God.
That's right. I literally put in my notes. I said they're just copying Dogma.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and it's not even good.
So when he does have an epiphany, he drinks this holy water infused beer, and then he actually meets Santachrist. Now, Santachrist is a character from Doug Walker, aka the Nostalgia Critics videos, that is also a super popular internet reviewer, probably more popular than Brad, but he's had Santachrist appear in all these videos, and it's just kind of like this punchline of like, oh, it's not God, it's not Santa, it's Santachrist. It's so, and even back then, even when I was really into these videos, I can tell you that I was not a fan of that joke even back then.
No, it's not. It's not really. It's not a funny joke, like. So, but for some reason, in all of his videos, that was pounded into was the Santachrist joke, and it's to the point where it's in this movie for whatever reason.
Which do they? I mean, I think they kind of explain it where they're like, okay, well, this is like your exaggerated view of Jesus because Jesus is like this Santa Claus figure or whatever. So he's Santachrist, but I don't really understand the character because there's scenes where he's taking off his beard to talk with him and all that. And I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either because it's almost like it tries to set up that he's being pranked or something. Like I don't get it. I don't get the whole heaven thing. He meets the devil, and the devil's just in a boiler room.
And Santachrist is just like at a soundstage they rented.
Yeah, and it makes you think like, oh, at least for me personally, because it comes up a couple times. It's like, oh, he just drank some drugs. He got drugged, and it was kind of a prank or something, or some dumb vision. But no, it come to find out it's all real because God's smiting people.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, they because Santachrist and the devil do not want him becoming super popular because all these people are dying. And I'm like, why is this an issue? Why don't you stop it? They don't ever say why he doesn't stop it.
Yeah, it's just, they're almost like, well, not God, but Santachrist is like a bumbling idiot, and God's just like kind of a mean mom. I don't know. It's a weird dynamic.
But I wanted to, there was a couple other jokes too, which I did not get. Like,
okay. There's
one where like, so he has a friend and they go hunting and there's a walking bush. They keep talking to like, oh yeah, we're going to hunt bushes, and like a bush like just starts walking, and he talks about like gutting and killing a bush. And I'm like, that one was really weird. It was so stupid. And I'm like, I couldn't believe I saw that, really.
Yeah. There's a lot of hunting scenes in this for whatever reason that serves no point to the plot. He has his friend that he does go hunting with, Fard Muhammad, who's shown up in other Brad Jones films and stuff. And this character is supposed to be like a goofy sidekick, but just the way it's written isn't very good, and it's very on the nose. Like, there's a really bad line where he's like, I think Fard says it. He says like, "Oh, I'm the black funny sidekick, man," and it's just like, why do you have to bring that up? That's not funny. Just saying that.
Well, plus too, that's a joke that's been made in other movies. It's like, not another teen movie. It's like, oh, I'm the token black character, and just so it's not even an original joke.
Exactly.
And that character too. So he has this one backstory where he keeps talking about his dead wife, and like he's alluding to the fact that he murdered her, but there's zero payoff to that.
No, there's no joke. He doesn't like open the trunk at the end of the movie and he's got his dead wife back there or something. There's like, it's just weird like zoom ins, and he's talking garbage, but he's also like super Christian. That's another part of his character. There's also a really bad joke where he's reading a letter, and it's Brad Jones's voice, but that character is just miming Brad Jones's voice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Another one, there's a lot of really cringy internet dialogue in there too. I remember hearing, there's really long scenes of monologues too. Like the main character goes on these super long monologues where it's just showing like him giving his ideas and things like that. It's that kind of stuff is really boring.
Yeah, it just, it's kind of boring. His wife, Obscurus Lupa, another YouTuber, and she's like disowned this movie from what I've seen.
Which is funny because she at one point was in a lot of Brad Jones's videos, but there was a big controversy over at Channel Awesome, which I don't think we need to get into. But basically, she and Brad Jones are no longer friends, and she is pretty much the only female character in this movie too, other than God.
Yeah.
She actually disowned the movie, like you said, and here's what she said on Letterboxd. She said, "I starred in this movie, and let you tell you, it's a piece of shit made by shitty people, but you can see a Star Wars ghost joke for the 10 millionth time in it. Half a star for the background guy who got his line cut at the end when he said, 'What?' after the proposal."
Good Lord. That's just brutal. Yeah. That shows you how bad of a time she must have had making this movie.
Well, I mean, she doesn't even get like good scenes or anything like that. I mean, the only thing they make her do is like she's like a baby factory because she's like, "Oh no, since you broke up with me, I have 19 kids now."
Well, and she also has this trait that they bring up that she's exposition, where she just drops a bunch of exposition, which is like the Austin Powers joke with Mr. Exposition. So
there was. I mean, there was one. I guess the part where she kept saying like how long they've been dating, which that was kind of funny, maybe, but. I'm really struggling here to even think of a joke where I laughed, honestly.
I want to say I laughed at one thing, but it is gone now. God, one thing I do want to talk about, the intro of this movie, which has a really weird filter on it, where it's very bright, right? I think it's supposed to be like, this is the past. But it has young Rick looking at a fake dress-up Jesus who is a drunkard, has issues with drugs, like just crazy stuff. But here's the thing. I didn't know till the end of the movie that this was young Rick until the end credits where it was like young Rick. And I was like, oh, that was the point of that.
That's fun. That's so funny. I had the exact same thought because
good.
Because I was like, what was that scene about? And then after it said young Rick, I'm like, oh, that was him? Like they didn't say anything. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be obvious, but I mean, by the time we get into the movie, I've forgotten all about that scene.
Yeah, it had no bearing on the plot, or I guess it did, but it didn't do a good job of connecting the pieces. You know, it should have done it in a flashback or something. I'm glad because I felt stupid. I was like, oh wow, I guess I really don't understand movies if I'm over here not understanding that that's not young Rick, but I wasn't alone. So good.
Brad Jones is just way too complicated for you, I'm afraid. One last joke I want to bring up. The biggest running joke in this entire movie is them talking about chicken sandwiches.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, by the end of this movie, I was like, shut up about chicken sandwiches because it felt like almost every scene they're like, oh, God appeared as a or Jesus had to appear as a chicken sandwich to appease atheists, to convert them or whatever, and they kept bringing it up all the time.
Yeah, and it had a bunch of jokes about being closed on Sunday, stuff like that, and it's just I don't know. It had running jokes throughout it like that, where it was just completely boring. Like it just got boring, right? It might have been funny at one point, but you made sure that it got dragged into the ground by the end of this. And I hate how harsh I'm sounding on this movie. Like I sound like I hate this thing, but I didn't like it like at all. I don't really have anything positive to say.
If I was going to say a positive, this compared to a Paranoia, it actually looks like a movie, like in terms of quality wise.
It does actually look like it was shot with lighting, proper lighting and cameras.
Because Paranoia just looks like I grabbed my family camcorder and just started filming a movie. That's what it looked like. But Jesus, bro, I think Paranoia was like 0 budget movie. And then this one was like, it actually had a budget because this one actually did have an Indiegogo campaign, and it did raise over $50,000 to get this movie made.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean, you could tell they had proper equipment. I feel like Paranoia had some editing issues. This really didn't have any technical issues, I don't think. So at least, yeah, you're right. It does have that. And it has Doug Walker. So that's awesome.
It does. And Doug Walker in a dual role. That's how great of an actor he is.
Yeah, he's truly the Eddie Murphy of his generation. So.
Yes, absolutely. But you said you watched some behind the scenes videos. What exactly did you see?
So on YouTube, on Brad Jones's channel, he has a 2-hour behind the scene thing. I'll be very honest.
Oh my God.
It's not really worth watching. It's literally a dude with a camera is recording them film scenes. And like, it's stuff like take 1, and they run through it and they're like, all right, let's do it again. Let's do take 2, reset. And it's literally just them shooting. Nothing crazy. But Brad Jones does talk in it. And he actually looks really happy making this movie. He looks super excited, not like he's beaten down while making this movie. So I do think that there was some love in this movie. So there's at least that. I do think it came from a place for Brad Jones of something he wanted to say. Do I think it worked for me? No, not at all. But maybe he did actually get to say what he wanted to say. So it is what it is.
No, and I mean, it's not a very good movie, but I've certainly seen much worse. And and I don't think they had any ill intentions or whatever. I think they were trying really hard to make a good movie, and I'm sure they had a lot of fun making it. But it's just poorly executed, and it's just not very funny, in my opinion.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't think it would be funny to most people. I do see positive reviews of this, and they seem to be just big fans of Nostalgia Critic and Cinema Snob. And I don't know. I feel like some people might genuinely like this, but some people are just big enough fans that they will just support whatever a content creator puts out.
That, and I mean, comedy is 100% subjective. So
It's true.
It's just, there's somebody that probably does find this movie hilarious, and
Yeah.
but we're not two of those people.
No, and I'm going to be honest with you, to most of our listeners, especially if you have no context on like any of these people we've referenced, you will not like this, and I would not recommend you go out and see this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But one thing I kind of want to end on is going through and doing these podcasts with you. I think one thing I can kind of take away is that a lot of other bad movies is that there's usually a lot more I appreciate in those type of movies, like bad action movies. You can have really good action sequences, but the rest just doesn't really add up. Or, you can have something like The Room or whatever, where they're trying to be super serious, but it's so overblown that it's hilarious. But it's very, very easy. And I think comedy is much harder to be successful. And
yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Because like I said, there's other things you can appreciate, but if your comedy movie is not funny, it's going to be a really dreadful experience. You're really just going to hate the whole experience.
Yeah, if you're not laughing, then it misses its whole objective. Like, I will sit through a horror movie with bad acting and just like kind of sloppy editing if the horror is good, if the blood effects, the kill effects, it's all good. Same with action. If the action's good and everything else is kind of lackluster, it proved its point. Comedy's true point is to make you laugh, and if you're not laughing, you're not enjoying it at all.
Yeah, and I hope one day we actually can do a comedy that's actually really funny. But because honestly, we're watching really bad comedy movies is really not a very fun experience.
No, yeah, that's when it gets boring. And like, I want to sit here and watch movies with you that like are enjoyable, even if they're on the bad end. They at least got some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, at least give me something ridiculous so that way we can have a fun time talking about it. This one, it's not a fun conversation because it's like, it does feel like we're shitting on the guy, but at the same time, it's like, it's not very good. So, what do you want us to do? Exactly.
Yeah. But you know what? We did it. We got to get this content out to everybody. It's something we wanted to do. I'd actually like to cover more of these. I think Jesus Bro was probably, out of his picks, probably the one that I would think would be the worst. The other ones actually look like they could be kind of enjoyable.
Yeah. And I'm not ruling him out at all, but it's just, I'm hoping we can see more movies like Paranoia, and maybe I think I would like to see him try another serious movie, and I'd like to review if he does another one.
Yeah, maybe one day I'd love to see that. And speaking of comedies, maybe we'll throw in some more hidden comedies. I would love to get some more of those in there.
Oh yeah, they're out there.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's it. Is there anything else that we need to?
Yes,
All
yeah.
right.
I think that's everything for Jesus Bro.
But Nathan, what are we going to be talking about next time?
Oh, we're talking about a real winner over here, The Spirit of Christmas from 2015. Is it a scary spirit? Is it a funny spirit? Who knows? We'll figure that out.
Yeah, and if you want to watch this with us, it's on Amazon Prime right now.
It's also on YouTube, so you can find it right on YouTube.
Hey, even more the better. If you don't have a Prime subscription, bam, right on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely check it out. If you have any recommendations, anything you would love to see us review, or if you have any opinions on the show, email us at driveindoublefeaturepodcast@gmail.com.
Sounds good. Can't wait.
Yeah. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.